UFC 280. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Make sure you guys smash that like button if you're new. Subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. Main event, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. Amazing card. We'll talk about each of the matchups. Let's start with the first fight of the night. Ladies going after it here. It's Lina Länsberg and Karol Rosa. All week I have been confident in Karol Rosa. Now, she is a pretty wide favorite, but I see her as, I think, a clear winner here. She should be able to outstrike Länsberg. She should be able to defend against grappling attacks. And I think cruise to a dominant 30-27 decision. As far as the face-offs go, Karol Rosa looked pretty good on the scale. We'll pull up Lina Länsberg as well. She looks pretty solid too. Both girls on weight and ready to throw down in this fight. There's the face-off here. Similar size, but a big X factor is Lina Länsberg is 40 years old. Karol Rosa on the other side is 27. They are in extremely different points of their career. Interesting note, right? 5'7" for Länsberg, 5'5" for Rosa. At the face-off, to me, it looks like Länsberg is half an inch shorter than Karol Rosa. I think Rosa's going to look good here, guys. I think she's going to dominate. Clear win, unanimous decision, Karol Rosa, and it should not be close. As far as the odds for this fight, you're sitting around minus 330 for Karol Rosa, and then Lina Länsberg upwards of plus 290 at best value. I feel like Lina Länsberg has no shot. I think Karol Rosa is going to dominate. Line is a bit wide, so maybe not a money line play, but maybe a parlay piece, though. Now, as far as some props, maybe you go over 2.5. It's minus 275, but I really don't love that. Rosa to win via decision. Best value you're seeing is minus 105, but it's upwards of even minus 150. This first fight might not be one of the better, bets as far as props, over-unders, or money lines. Parlay piece, Karol Rosa, though. I like her here to win. Very confident she beats Lina Länsberg. Let's keep on running up this amazing UFC 280 card. Mokaev versus Malcolm Gordon. I have been on Mokaev all week, and I knew the scales would change nothing. They have not, but we will pull up the scales here. There is Malcolm Gordon. He looks pretty shredded. He's in incredible shape. I mean, he's not coming here to lose. There's Mokaev. But the truth is, this is just a nightmare stylistic matchup for Malcolm Gordon. He's getting thrown to the Dagestani Lion on the rise, who I really feel like is the future of the flyweight division at just 22. He looks pretty damn amazing. The wrestling is great. Granted, he had a hard-ish fight against Charles Johnson. He still won every round. He didn't get that impressive finish, but I think we got to give Charles Johnson some credit. He's a good fighter. He's a tough SOB. Malcolm Gordon, I do think, is going to get ran over here. I think Charles Johnson is actually a harder matchup than Malcolm Gordon. I'd actually reckon I'd pick Charles Johnson to beat Malcolm Gordon if they were to fight. Mokaev, I'm going to say submission. I'm thinking second round sub. I see him taking Gordon down, beating him up, and then working towards probably strangling him here. Mokaev is an extremely confident pick, but the lines reflect that. It's minus 1150 best value for Mokaev, plus 850 Malcolm Gordon best value. It's Mokaev all day, but you can't throw down on money line. So you have to look at the prop sides. We have to see, is there anything worth it? Under 2.5 rounds, I'm saying is high confidence. I'm saying very, 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 very likely, minus 200. For Mokaev to win by sub, you can actually find this at plus money. I think it could be worth a stab. Plus 130 best value for that Mokaev sub line. I think it's worth looking at. Mokaev win by submission because you're not touching the money line, and it's really not even worth it to add in your parlays either, as wide as this one is. But Mokaev, in my opinion, lock really here. Mokaev submission, second round. It's not going to be difficult. I think he's going to run right over Malcolm Gordon. Big mismatch. This next fight's close. It's a competitive matchup. Armen Petrosyan and AJ Dobson. I have been riding the dog side of AJ Dobson throughout the week. Now, granted, Armen Petrosyan's an incredible kickboxer. If he's able to fend off takedown attempts and stay at range, he could definitely out-kickbox AJ Dobson. Now, I do like Dobson's punching power. I do like his pressure striking attack, and I really feel like you're going to see him shoot for takedowns here, and I think he'll find them on Armen Petrosyan. I'm expecting Dobson more so to win this fight on the cards. odds. I think we are going to go long here. As far as the scales, we'll see. AJ Dobson looks in solid shape, as always. Armen Petrosyan looks pretty good, too. One thing I'll note is these guys are really the same height. AJ Dobson, longer reach. If you look at punching power, I'd say AJ Dobson hits harder. Armen Petrosyan is better. If Armen Petrosyan is able to keep distance and space, he could definitely win this fight on a 3-round technical kickboxing display. But Dobson will not let that happen. I'm riding with the underdog, AJ Dobson, to win. I'll lean it by decision, though, and I'm telling you guys, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Armen Petrosyan. Not a bad dog play because he's actually a pretty wide underdog. Plus 180 for AJ Dobson. Petrosyan sitting at minus 200 is the favorite. I like that Dog City Dobson line. As far as the over a round and a half is minus 120. I feel like we're going over a round and a half. I actually think that's a pretty quality play. Over 2.5 is big plus money, plus 165. I could definitely see this fight also going that over 2.5. I'm going to say Dobson does win it by decision. Don't love the prop that much aside from the value of it. Now, Hail Mary shot, maybe plus 650. Dobson decision. Dobson by KO, plus 325. I like money line dog play if I'm going to throw down on this one. Sure, you can sprinkle the Hail Mary of Dobson decision. Maybe you can play that over 2.5 lightly, but ultimately AJ Dobson money line is where I think the money should go here if you're looking to play this fight. Underdog, AJ Dobson win. I'm going to say decision over the dangerous kickboxer Armen Petrosyan. Fun fight. Next fight on the card is Abubakar Nurmagomedov and Omargadzhiev. Listen, I think Abubakar Nurmagomedov has the better striking here. Wrestling for wrestling, I think it cancels it out for one another. Maybe Omargadzhiev has a better like pure submission skill set, but I don't see him getting on top of Nurmagomedov and strangling him. I don't see him controlling him too much. If he is on top, I see it for short bursts, and I see Nurmagomedov getting back up to his feet, and I see on the contrary the exact same thing. But if they strike, I like Nurmagomedov's hands. I like his kicking skill set too. I think he's developed a pretty decent jab, fights fairly well from range. So let's say it's like this. Striker versus striker. I'm going with the more, in my opinion, competent stand-up game of Abubakar Nurmagomedov to outstrike Omargadzhiev in a very competitive fight where wrestling will be attempted. I just don't see significant successes on either side. Abubakar Nurmagomedov has been the pick throughout the week. He's probably still the pick. I mean, I already have watched the weigh-ins, but seeing on the scales, I'll tell you guys straight, he's already still the pick. And we see the scale here. Gadzhiev looks good. Abubakar Nurmagomedov has his shirt on for this one. There's nothing really to note. I mean, he looked fine at the official weigh-ins. No concern. These guys are very friendly towards one another, man. It's that the Russian love for these two. Nurmagomedov, decision. As far as the lines, he is a slight favorite at minus 160. Omargadzhiev is plus 150. Over 2.5 is minus 200. I feel like these guys are definitely going the distance here. It could be a decent play. Let's see here. Nurmagomedov to win via decision, plus 160. I don't like the betting side as much here because I got to give respect to Omargadzhiev. He's a very good fighter, and we could be in for a real close decision that could end up going either way. So I think where you throw the money down, if you're going to and you have to bet this fight, I'm saying over 2.5 is your best play. But I do think Abubakar Nurmagomedov does get it done and win a unanimous decision over Omargadzhiev in a fun matchup of Russian wrestlers here. Next fight, Volkan Oezdemir and Nikita Krylov. I've been on Krylov all week. I'm excited to see how he looks on the scales here with Volkan. It was something I was curious about. I like the energy Krylov brought to that face-off too. He's riding a really good win over Alexander Gustafsson. Volkan Oezdemir, recent performance over Paul Craig. He won. Didn't look super impressive in that fight, but beat Paul Craig, who has a win over Krylov, and at that point was on the submission tear, running over everybody, and Volkan Oezdemir kind of showed how to beat him. Disengaged from the grappling. Take your time striking. I will say Volkan got touched up on the feet too much against Paul Craig, who's a mid-striker at best. Nikita Krylov is clearly the better striker. Now, people will say, oh, but Paul Craig beat Nikita Krylov. Styles make fights. Styles make fights, and Nikita Krylov fought stupid against Paul Craig, choosing to continue to engage in the grappling, and he found himself submitted. If he was on the feet, I reckon he could TKO Paul Craig. I think he could stop him. I'm going to say Nikita Krylov wins here by a unanimous decision over Volkan Oezdemir, and don't be shocked if he mixes in some wrestling as well. Krylov looks incredible on the scale. He looks very confident. How old is he now? 30 years of age. I do believe he's in his peak right now, in his prime. And he gave Magomed Ankalaev a very difficult fight, whereas Volkan Oezdemir kind of got ran out the gym through that fight. Volkan Oezdemir on the scale, a little softer on the midsection. There was Krylov with the face-off, and Oezdemir. Listen, that face-off to me is even more confidence towards Krylov. I think as I've seen this scale, as I've seen the weigh-in, as I've seen the energy Krylov has, I think my confidence for Krylov has jumped like 15%. Nikita Krylov could be something to consider. Betting-wise, you're looking at the odds for it. -172. Nikita, Volkan Oezdemir sitting at +161 best value. I think Krylov's going to get his hand raised on the cards. I do think we're going long. It's interesting that over 2.5 is at +150, so they're expecting a finish. Volkan's not an easy guy to tap out. I know he was submitted by Anthony Smith, but it's not like he's, getting ran over consistently in fights. He's extremely difficult to get put away. Nikita Krylov, I don't think he gets chinned by Volkan Oezdemir. I think we're looking at 3 rounds of quality work, and I'll say Krylov wins it on the cards. I think Krylov is an okay money line play. Maybe somebody to add into the parlays as far as betting side of where's this fight going. If you're going Krylov to win a decision, upwards of +365. But really, I don't like the prop side. I would prefer the over-under side. I'd prefer the over specifically. Or I'd prefer money line Nikita Krylov. I like Krylov to win. I say he gets it done here by a unanimous decision. Let's keep on running up. Next matchup. Makhmud Muradov versus Caio Borralho. I've been picking Caio Borralho all week long, but I've acknowledged that Makhmud Muradov is no easy out. The guy's an experienced fighter who had a great run outside of the UFC, and now he's fighting Caio Borralho. We're going to pull up the scales here, and you're going to see Muradov is not coming here to lose. There's Caio Borralho on the scale. He's got that savage tattoo, and he looks in good shape. He's got the swagger. For some reason, they have a picture of that's hilarious, man. MMA Junkie, shout out to you for bringing up the wrong picture. There's no Muradov pick. That's Muhammad Mokaev. But you can see Muradov is in incredible shape, as he always is. I like Caio Borralho to win a decision here. I think he's going to take down Muradov and grapple with him for the majority of the fight. I think striking's competitive, but I like the rangy style from the karate stance of Borralho. You can't completely count out Muradov. He has very good punching. He has some knockout power in his hands. And he had a good run outside of the UFC, and at one point was being looked at as a contender, and now he loses one fight, and he's being totally slept on. So if you're thinking about betting Borralho, I do so cautiously. Yes, I'm still picking him to win the fight, but I don't know. I just feel like we can't fully sleep on Muradov's game, even though Borralho's a real prospect on the rise. -194 for Borralho. Makhmud Muradov is +185. I like Borralho to win. He is a favorite, not my favorite bet. I feel like this fight is going over a round and a half. I've said this a couple times throughout the week at -170. I think that's a steal price tag. I don't think Muradov's getting ran over and choked out quickly here. I feel like we're going to have competitive fight for 3 rounds. Now, if you are thinking about playing Borralho to win by sub, I know some people would like that line. You do have okay value on it. It's sitting upwards of actually +450. If you find it that wide, that's tremendous value. But the official pick is Borralho winning by a decision, sitting around +185 best value. But I just don't love that decision prop because there is possibility he gets the finish. So if I'm looking for a prop, I'm going to go the Hail Mary side, sprinkle that win by submission. But ultimately, Borralho money line. It should happen. I'm picking him to win. I think he does it. But there's some concern. You have to be a little bit concerned about a guy that's still, fresh in his UFC run, fighting a guy like Muradov who's no slouch and is just being slept on a bit here. Borralho could be a parlay buster for some. So bet this one with caution, but I'll pick Borralho to win still. Next fight on the card is the featured prelim of the night. Belal Muhammad versus Sean Brady. The pick has been Belal Muhammad. Remember that name all week long. He's an underdog, and I do think he's an extremely live one against Sean Brady here. Yes, Sean Brady has tremendous grappling skills. He might be the physically stronger guy between him and Belal. I do think Belal is the better gas tank. I also think Belal has a better stand-up game. Also, kicks favor Belal, straight punches favor Belal. Sean Brady, more of a guy that throws wide punches to close that gap. I don't think he's going to have a ton of success trying to wrestle with Belal. Also, note that Belal's been training with Team Habib for the past couple months, getting accustomed accustomed to that desert air over in Abu Dhabi. That's a factor too. I think Belal Muhammad by a unanimous decision. If it was 5 rounds, it would be higher confidence. But in 3 rounds, I do think he can still take it against the undefeated Sean Brady and give him that first L. As far as the scales here, there is Sean Brady. He's jacked as always. And then there is Belal Muhammad, who actually looks in fantastic shape for this fight. This might be the best Belal I've ever seen. And then there is the face-off between these two. Good face-off, intense face-off. They're close to one another. You can notice, I know the tattoos kind of, melt everything together, but you can see that Sean Brady is a little bit thicker with his muscle than Belal Muhammad. Ultimately, I do think that could be a factor as far as his strength inside of the clinch and with takedowns, but Belal's got great technique. I think Belal from distance is the better striker, and I do think he can keep a higher pace for 3 rounds, and he wins this one on the cards. Belal Muhammad, underdog for the win. Belal is sitting at plus 120 best value. Sean Brady is minus 130. Belal Muhammad, I do think, gets it done on the cards here. Maybe you're going Belal to win by decision. That one is sitting at plus 180. If you're looking at the over 2.5 rounds, that's minus 270. I also do think that comes through as well. Belal Muhammad should get it done by a decision. Underdog in a great featured bout of the night. Let's jump to the main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe. Katlyn Chookagian, Manon Fiorot. The pick is Manon Fiorot with a lot of confidence here, and she looked very good on the scales too. We'll pull up the scales right away. There is Manon Fiorot looking incredible. Good shape. Not like crazy, shredded, but still very good shape. Katlyn Chookagian looks solid as always on the scale. She's never an easy out for anyone, but note this. Katlyn Chookagian is used to significant height advantages. She's nearly the same height as Manon Fiorot. Fiorot, very good from distance. I think she has an advantage in range striking over Katlyn Chookagian. She's also, I think, the stronger grappler, better offensive takedown ability. I mean, it would be more so throws inside of the clinch with Chookagian in the last one showing that as a vulnerability, whereas Manon Fiorot threw Jennifer Maia, who's a high-level grappler known for that jiu-jitsu skill set, gave Valentina Shevchenko hell on the floor. I think you're going to see Manon Fiorot put on a quality performance and win a dominant decision here and stamp her name at the top of 125 and call out Valentina Shevchenko next. That's the fight for her. Manon Fiorot, problem at this weight class, and I think dominant win is in store here Saturday. Minus 200, Manon Fiorot. Katlyn Chookagian sitting at plus 189. I like Fiorot money line. I do think she's a pretty quality play. And then if you're considering maybe touching the prop side, the over-unders, not worth it in my opinion. Fiorot to win by decision, plus 105. Not great value, but I do think she wins a decision. Fiorot's saying, though, that she wants to get it done by a stoppage. If you went inside of the distance, as more as the Hail Mary prop line, plus 345 for that one. I still think Chookagian's going to survive the full 3, and both girls going the distance with one another in a competitive fight, but a dominant fight. I think Fiorot looks like the clear winner here, but you can never fully count out Katlyn Chookagian to just get ran over. That's just not her. She's still the savage. I mean, I know the Jessica Andrade fight, she did get stopped. Is it impossible Fiorot stops her? Definitely not. So maybe that, inside of the distance sprinkle with Manon Fiorot money line could be a good idea for some of you guys. Manon Fiorot for the win. Dominantly. I'll pick it by a decision, though. Next fight on the card. Beneil Dariush and Mateusz Gamrot. Listen, the gamer, Mateusz Gamrot, is the pick all day here. I think he's going to beat Beneil Dariush. He'll threaten with wrestling. I do think he can touch him up on the feet as well. We will pull up the scales here. There is Mateusz Gamrot. There is Beneil Dariush. And there is the face-off. A little bit of a height edge for Mateusz Gamrot. Nothing crazy on the scales. Now, something I've been talking about that's a concern for me is when Beneil Dariush gets frustrated, he bangs. He goes a little bit wild and reckless. He doesn't have a ton of head movement. Both fighters southpaw. I wouldn't be shocked if Mateusz Gamrot ended up sleeping Dariush because of the chain wrestling attack, setting up overhand shots. It's not impossible. I'm banking on Mateusz Gamrot. I do think pretty quality pick. Maybe you're touching that KO prop line. Let's bring up the odds here for this fight. Gamrot is sitting at minus 184. Beneil Dariush plus 165. I like Mateusz Gamrot's chances to win a good amount here, guys. I've gotten more confident in him throughout the week. Now, as far as Gamrot to win by KO, it is a very wide plus 460 Hail Mary style prop line. Money line is better because money line, I think, is more of a near sure thing. I see Gamrot beating Benny. Decision is very possible. I will lean that KO side because I just see Dariush getting caught. And if Gamrot does get the KO win, massive for his career. Jumps the stock through the roof. Next fight on the card, Petrosyan versus Sean O'Malley. The pick has been underdog Sean O'Malley throughout the week. Listen, he fights well from range. He's a lot longer than Yan. Has more of the flow kickboxing style where Yan has that more tight presence. He closes the gap well. Maybe Yan looks to mix in the grappling. I do think that could help his game. Sean O'Malley has improved leg kick defense without a doubt. I'm picking Chookagian for the upset. I have been throughout the week. Ultimately, though, I'm acknowledging Petrosyan is a very difficult fight for Sean O'Malley. This is a serious jump in competition. There is Sean O'Malley on the scales. He looks pretty good. He's got that signature red hair. There is Petrosyan. He looks pretty intense. And there's a solid little face-off. Yan shoved him at the media day, or excuse me, at the post-fight press conference. Pre-fight press conference. He shoved Sean O'Malley, kind of, touching him up a bit. I mean, he kind of won that press conference smack talk and shit. But at the end of the day, you can't sleep on Sean O'Malley. I think he's going to fight pretty well from range. I think he can win a very competitive decision. I think he can take the first and second round, and Yan probably wins the third. Yan's a 5-round fighter. O'Malley's used to these 3-round fights. Yan is going to have to shift his game to prepare for these 3-round bouts. It's a different style. He hasn't done it in almost 3 years, and was against Uriah Faber the last time he was scheduled for 3 rounds. Petrosyan, game as always. I'm going to pick, though, Sean O'Malley underdog side to win a very competitive decision. O'Malley plus 243, Petrosyan minus 245. Chookagian upset action. Now, as far as the over 2.5, I do think that's pretty likely. It's minus 188. Let's say you went O'Malley to win by decision, plus 490. But ultimately, I think if you're going to bet Chookagian, I think you lightly touch that money line because I just think it's better. I have more faith in the money line, and I'd rather ride that way than try to sprinkle prop and then, get caught with something. I don't know. You go decision. He ends up pulling off some crazy KO. Sean O'Malley, though, the official prediction, I'll say he gets it done. Underdog Sean O'Malley. Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. I've been picking Aljo throughout the week, but I must acknowledge TJ Dillashaw seems very confident, and he looked incredible on the scales. Now, I'm still picking Aljamain Sterling. I do think he can win this fight on a competitive decision. I do feel like they're going the full 5. There is a shredded TJ Dillashaw. There is a shredded Aljamain Sterling. And here's the face-off here. These guys were at each other. Little smack talk. They're ready to go. These guys are going to throw down. TJ Dillashaw has a chance to reclaim his throne. Let's see if he can do it here. I do think Aljo fends off a very game TJ Dillashaw contender. I'm expecting it to go long. I think both guys are winning rounds. I could see 48-47. Aljamain, if he can get that clinch position against the cage, and if he can backpack TJ Dillashaw for a bit, I think control time is going to be a huge factor in this fight. And I'm going to say Aljamain Sterling does it on the cards. Now, as far as the lines, Aljo minus 155, TJ Dillashaw plus 158. We're riding Sterling for the win. As far as the prop betting side, if you said, hey, I want to bet fight goes distance, it's minus 180. It's not great value, but I'm expecting fight to go distance here. I don't think the submission is very likely, but I will read it off at plus 420. And then Sterling to win by decision at plus 145. I think money line is your better option here. Stick with the money lines if you're going Sterling, but we'll acknowledge TJ Dillashaw is going to be an extremely difficult test for Aljo, but I'm still confident Aljamain pulls through. But you might sweat this one out if you're throwing down on Aljamain Sterling because it's a fight. Let's get to the main event. If you guys haven't, make sure to smash that like button, and if you're new, subscribe. Charles do Bronx Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. The pick has been Islam Makhachev throughout the week. I think the wrestling is the biggest X factor and also the patience of Islam Makhachev. Now, Oliveira might put a high pace on Makhachev, attack him early. Very curious to see how Makhachev responds. If Oliveira gets careless, Islam Makhachev still has some sting in his punches. I could see him hurting him with an overhand left. Southpaw Makhachev, Oliveira, I do think sometimes, and especially that Dustin Poirier fight, can eat some left hands from a southpaw. And I think Makhachev could land one. And one difference between Poirier and Makhachev is if Makhachev lands, he will follow up with ground and pound, unlike any of the previous 3 opponents Charles Oliveira has faced. Now, we will pull up the scales here and check them out. Both guys extremely confident, coming in ready to go. There is Islam Makhachev. He looks shredded at the official weigh-ins as well. There's Oliveira. He looks shredded and confident. These guys are ready to go to war here. It's a very intense face-off. If we can get it to fucking not look like, a picture on a fucking, I don't know, a pickle. Look like a 2005 phone. There's the face-off. There's Makhachev with confidence post face-off. Both these guys are ready to go. This is championship level action. This is for the belt. Islam Makhachev, I do think, claims the throne. I'm going to say he does it. 3rd or 4th round KO TKO. I see grounded pound. I see Oliveira getting tired as Makhachev smothers him. Don't be shocked if Makhachev goes towards the John Fitch style kind of control, lay and pray-esque, and he ends up winning the decision. Oliveira, though, will give it hell. I do think we have an exciting fight. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't think this fight's going to be boring. I just, even if Makhachev is going to try to just hold and grapple, I feel like Oliveira will have moments of success. We're going to be going crazy watching it. I'll be live for the entire card, so make sure you guys tune into the Fight Companion. The pick is Makhachev, though, to win this fight, and I will say he does it by 3rd round KO TKO. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking he wants to get a submission to prove a point that he is the best grappler, too, in the lightweight division, and submit the submission king. As far as the odds, plus 165 Oliveira, Makhachev minus 155. I'm riding with Makhachev to get his hand raised. Now, as far as prop betting in this one, over a round and a half is minus 150. I think there's a decent shot for that. If you went Makhachev inside distance, plus 100, maybe not worth it. Makhachev KO TKO is a good line, upwards of plus 500. Makhachev win by sub, plus 220. I don't love it. I don't know. I just like the money line here. Maybe you go over a round and a half if you want to sprinkle that, but you'll be sweating for sure because these guys are going to, I think they're going to throw down. I think we have a great fight here. I'm going to pick Makhachev. I'll say he wins this fight. I'm going to say decision, I'm going to see KO, TKO, ground and pound. But I could see decision. I could see submission. Method of victory is up in the air really here. But I think Makhachev is the pick to go for. And I do think he wins and becomes champion, beating Charles Oliveira in what I think is going to be an epic fight. And Volkanovski guaranteed the next title shot at 155. So the winner has a real savage coming after him next. Huge fights in the lightweight division on the horizon. This weight class is incredible. And this UFC 280 main event could not get any better. Now, I do want to send you guys off with a parlay, something to throw down on. We'll come up with a couple live here. Listen, if you like the Islam Makhachev side, let's say you have him in your parlay, you go Makhachev. If you're also feeling Mateusz Gamrot, you go Gamrot, Fiorot, Karol, Rosa. 4-fighter play plus 348 that I do think could come through here. Listen, if you want to leave Makhachev out, I understand that. I do think these right here are still good picks. Mateusz Gamrot, Manon, Fiorot, Karol, Rosa. If you're like, listen, I'm not crazy about putting Gamrot in, I totally get that too. You could add the likes of a Nikita Krylov at plus 200, Fiorot, Rosa, Krylov, but you're like, yo, I ain't playing Karol, Rosa. I don't want to risk it on Manon, Fiorot. You just want to do men's MMA, as I know a lot of you probably would prefer, just not to, risk it all on some of the ladies here. Krylov, Gamrot, plus 140. If you went Krylov, Gamrot, Makhachev, plus 266. Ultimately, be cautious with your parlays. 2-3 fighters max. If you want to go Hail Mary territory, which we will do for this last one, we'll have a little fun with it. But ultimately, I'm not recommending anybody go for these crazy-ass Hail Marys here. Plus 1,000, Krylov, Gamrot, Makhachev, Rosa, Fiorot, Aljamain Sterling, and if you added in Belal at the end of it, you get plus 2,279. That's the ultimate Hail Mary of the week, but this one, not a terrible play either if you're just looking to sprinkle. Be cautious with your bets. We got a great card in store. Make sure to tune into the Fight Companion because I cannot wait to be live for each of these matchups with my people. Smash the hell out of the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Keep it locked in here at MMA Experts. Turn on those post notifications. And if you really enjoy the content, share the video. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think of the picks. Who do you got in the main event? You going Oliveira? You going Makhachev, especially after seeing him on the scales? Did anything change on any of your picks? Are you flip-flopping any which way? I did not flip-flop for any of them. Now, I will note something that I didn't say earlier. Katlyn Chookagian did miss weight. She probably wouldn't be in line for a title shot after that one. So interesting note. Fiorot, though, with the win, gets a title shot. Guys, make sure to check out my bookie and use promo code EXPERTS to support your boy. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everyone.